Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Watchers Brawl for another great game. We have Sakura Gaming versus Feeding Troughs coming up for you shortly. I am Man of Class, and I'm here joined once again, just like before, by Steidel. How are you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. I'm ready to see some more amazing Overwatch. I just, give one last shout out to RNG for winning their match, and a huge thanks to Lum for coming on for that post-match interview. I'm down to see more Pharmacy. More of these pseudo comps, these DPS heroes finally breaking the pain.
100%. And I mean, they've been smart about their naming as well, because when does RNG not win someone the match, you know? It's always the case. Like, even if they lose, they win. So, but yeah, Sakura Gaming, we've just like with the Romans Next Gods, we haven't seen them in quite a bit. They played in the first week, like basically the second match, so the first day, second match. And they just having to wait until their next match, which is going to be now against Feeding Troughs. Feeding Troughs have played a little bit more recently, but not as recently as you may be hoping. They actually won their first game against U Waterloo, and now they're off to face Sakura Gaming. Both of them have been showing some promise. Sakura Gaming obviously didn't get to show as much because they were playing against such a dominant Revolution team. But currently, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to the series, but there's not as much we can really look at when it comes to power difference between these teams. Because it just...
I hope they bring the pain and showcase everything that they've got. We will be starting on Lijiang Tower today. And, we got to see a little bit of play earlier, man. And we saw the Hammond, we saw some Sombra, we saw some Pharmacy. Once again, I'm going to have to ask you, look into that crystal ball of yours. What do you think we're going to find when these two teams finally load into the map?
It's all a little bit up in the air. Obviously, both of these teams have been showing a little bit of what they want to do. Sakura Gaming has been showing that yes, they can play the 3-3, but they were just over. They didn't really. It wasn't really a fair matchup when it came to Revolution, because Revolution was showing such good coordination on the 3-3. So they've had some time to work on that. I hope they maybe show something of that. But they could also go onto this these DPS compositions. I do know that on the other side of Feeding Troughs, they are much more happy running those DPS comps as well. So we could see Jakarion, Akalash is going onto that budget ML7. A good Ana player, also pretty good as Zenyatta. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely making the name for himself that he is indeed a budget ML7. So yeah, interested to see what they're going to run out with. And once again, we're starting on Gardens, so the most DPS-oriented map of the three. And they're about to pick their selections.
I am sitting at the edge of my seat in anticipation.
It's a thing, yeah. I mean, I'm still hoping that we're going to get some more lore out of this map. Maybe get something that shows us what the Horizon is up to these days. Throwing rockets into space, maybe not so much, but other stuff, the Interstellar Agency as well. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm really, really curious about SpaceX in the future, because that's essentially what they feel like to me. It's kind of like the Elon Musk company of Overwatch.
Yeah, I can see that. I can very much see that. Hey Jeff, Elon Musk character hero number 32. Let's see.
They're basically the same guy. I know what you mean. Yeah, they are the same guys, just clones. But we're gonna see the composition on both sides featuring a lot of DPS here. It's going to be triple DPS versus triple DPS, Ana Mercy, Wrecking Ball. It's going to be great. Only differing factors are the Soldier and the Widow.
It's going to take a little bit for the engage, though, with all this mobility on the map. But, ooh, man! Dantu almost getting booped off of the map. Able to save himself with that hook, that grapple from the Widowmaker. We're going to see if Dantu is going to be able to find that shot onto Jakarion there. Looks like Akalash getting quite low, and there it is, finally taking out that Pharah to open the door onto the point. You're going to see Kivana go ahead and move on in. It's calculated is going to bring Jakarion back into the fight. Brewchop taking Sox out, so not looking like we're going to be seeing Sakura Gaming really engage very strongly right here. However, Feeding Troughs is going to take first control over the point, or at least first domination of it. They're not going to be able to get the full control, as the Hammond is going to roll around. They're trying to wait for that person to come back, but oh man, Kivana and Jason both getting taken out. That is an issue.
And the biggest thing that just opened that fight up was that Jakarion and Sox, they both died, but Jakarion died in a resable position, so got res back up, whereas Sox was a little bit too far forward, couldn't get res back up, and then that pressure from the Pharah where you don't have to worry about the air, is just going to be so much bigger from the hit scan. Yeah, it was a little that was basically just what won them the first fight, because they could just take more space.
Now going into this next engagement, we do have a lot of ultimates about to come online for Feeding Troughs, and you know, similar story on the side of Sakura Gaming, but not exactly the same. There's the EMP coming out pretty questionable there. They didn't have a lot of people to follow up, but Dantu, however, is going to go ahead and put the team on his back and grab a couple of big kills, but Jacarion's just going to go ahead and get an easy triple kill there. That nano-boosted Pharah is nothing to play with.
Just when you thought they were out, they pulled them back in. That was a nice play from Jakarion there. Good combo with Budge ML7, but gets another kill to Dexter there.
Man, that stagger.
They're showing up so good. Like I said, the EMP didn't necessarily get the biggest follow-up initially. Dantu did get 2 kills after it, so they looked like they were doing well, but then that nano barrage. And there's the tech visor.
And this is pretty much just to keep them in that choke. They can't initiate, they can't engage, they can't move. You know, grabs them a little bit of extra time there. Ooh, and Pharah as well. Now the mines go in. The rest of the team, however, not really in that location. Mines got pretty spread out. He dropped it pretty high in the air. Traders, however, will get Jakarion, who's going to get brought back into the fight immediately by Calculated Daft to get the return kill on the Traders. A low-lying barrage going to make it an easy kill for Brewchop there onto Sox. He's going to be able to find one, but it's not going to be enough to take the point. And at this point, I don't think we're going to see much of a contest coming in from Sakura Gaming.
They're on the point now, and they do actually have the numbers, because the Ana's already down. There's no res, because they already used it on Jakarion. Brewchop will get the kill here onto Das Ein, so it looks like they might be able to get back into this, but it's still looking very good for Sakura Gaming. They're not out of this just yet. So this could be a scrappy one to maybe get the point back for them.
Oh, Jakarion got back in. He almost had that barrage up at the coming in from Traders. Looked like there was going to be a little bit of a light on the horizon, but Jakarion still coming through and making an argument early on for that DPS MVP position.
And it's really, I was watching a stream the other day from Hardblue, if anyone, you know, watches it, so it's a good guy, but he basically, that's how he was in the game, and there was a Sombra on his team, and they really didn't coordinate their EMPs and like their hacks properly, because you need to be constantly talking about who you're hacking, where they are, who are you EMPing, when you're EMPing. You gotta
know what's going on.
Exactly, it's very important, because you can give so much information in that invisibility, and their Sombra didn't really do that, so at that point, it's pointless running a Sombra because you need to have the communication. And I'm sure Sakura has the communication, but Traders' EMPs were both both the timing and the positioning of them was not quite there. Used 2 of them, and they got too little value out of them. So it's good to see them now go into this 3-3. Maybe they can do more on this.
Both teams, however, it's going to be a mirror composition. And we're going to see Sakura Gaming take the low ground approach as Feeding Troughs takes their positioning on the stairwell. So as long as Sakura Gaming can keep them up on those stairs, they'll be able to take the first part of the point, but they are going to immediately rush down the stairs straight into the face of Kevon and take him out of the fight. Trading on for Finchu as well. Now Sox off of the Pharah onto the Zarya, gonna grab himself a kill as well, and now they are up. It's a 3v5 on the point. That's going to be an easy take for Sakura Gaming here.
And that was a very interesting fight from a lot of perspectives. So the Feeding Troughs went to the high ground, which you normally don't see Goats teams doing, because if there's a Mei, they can get split off. But after that, they just pushed into Kivana. They just kept running forward into him, and Sakura Gaming sort of surrounded them from the back. And yes, they lost Kivana, but then they took out Finchu in a sort of Titan-style fashion, where Bumper will just die, but then they just clean up after him.
Rallies coming out from both sides. There goes the Graviton coming in from Sox, but the counter shatter from Finchu going to kind of mitigate a little bit of the damage, as well as that Transcendence. There goes the Diva Bomb, just kind of creeping into the back, but it's going to give a lot of charge to Chop's barrier there, so he's going to be a higher charge. Zarya coming into this next fight. All we have left was Calculated's sound barrier, as well as Dexter now getting that sound barrier online as the fight goes on to the high ground. We're going to see a Reinhardt take a Diva for a ride. Is she going to be able to get back on? Oh, she is! Just able to get back onto the map. So Akalash is going to be able to come back in and put the pressure onto Dexter, forcing out that sound barrier and flipping over the point.
Because Dexter just got into environmental, so I guess they thought they could maybe get back in, but they didn't really have the numbers. Sox has now died a little bit late. We'll also lose that weapon charge. But I think Brewchop was also reset by the environmental kill. So all in all, they're not trading out too badly, but that sound barrier is something you might want back. That's a little bit of a shame they had to use that.
Yeah, that's an ultimate that's not going to come back super quickly, unless we see a lot of overhauling from Dexter. Well, we'll see if he's able to pull that off. The rest of the team, however, very much so on the heels of feeding Troughs here in this fight. Dason's gonna push in. The Gravitons come out from both sides, as well as a Shatter coming out from Finchu. There goes the self-destruct from Akalesh. It will find Dexter. So that's gonna be an upper hand. Now it's a 5v6 on the point, looking to find the upper hand. Feeding Troughs is gonna lose one member to Dason, and that's gonna be an issue as Dantu grabs another kill for his team as well. So now, Sakura Gaming showing a completely different side of the coin. They weren't so comfortable on that DPS composition. They weren't too coordinated, but their 3-3 is solid.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see that they're really choosing to fight at different parts of the map that you would usually see in like the higher tier meta. Going out on that balcony for one. Now also finding up in that high ground area there. Usually it takes place in different areas. Oh, that's a huge pick on Socks though. That could open up everything.
Yep, Socks was 90% to that Graviton, now 0% in life. Easy defense there for that Diva Bomb. Not going to find much. The distraction not going to come through either as Kivana falls to Calculated. Dawson going to go ahead and use that Transcendence to try and help get Socks back to the point as quickly as possible. He will have that Graviton ready coming into this next engagement. And a beautiful block onto the Shatter as the Graviton comes out. Not a lot of damage, however, going to get through as Budget ML7 going to go ahead and use that Transcendence to keep everybody alive. Dantu's Rally not going to be able to do the job here as they are losing members left and right. A little bit of a late Diva Bomb there at the end just to make sure they got the point.
I think they get it to the 99 mark there. Like you said, Diva Bomb to make sure, but I don't think they really needed it. Once again, both these teams looking a little bit sloppy in that ultimate economy game, but doesn't really matter. And if they're both doing it, it's still a very even match, and that's what we're getting right now. One fight win territory for Sakura Gaming. Let's see if they can pull it up, because they do look to be relatively even in ult percentage here.
There goes the sound barrier for the initiation with the beautiful charge coming in on the Dantu. He is going to be able to get the help from Akalesh to take them out. A hammer down comes in from Finchu and once again is blocked by Kivana. He does fall, and with that, it's going to set the ball rolling in motion for 87% to most likely be 99 by the time they get back to the point.
It's a very close one. You always have those percentages like that. That's where the game is winnable, and you can just not make it back to the point. With 4% going, it looks like they won't actually be able to make it there.
Nope, that last shield badge there on the hammer down. Beautiful little touch at the very end there.
Yeah, you saw them just holding a lot more aggressively as well that last time around. The first time they had the point cap, they actually held on the point. Oh, we gotta see. This is probably that first environmental kill, right? Where he just got the double? Oh, not even. It's a different one.
No, he's gonna go ahead and get a hammer down, help out with the Mercy, just melee the Tracer, help out with Traders, and then focus down Dasin. That's it's pretty good, pretty easy, simple.
I don't know. I mean, I would really thought that a double environmental kill. I would really thought that a double environmental kill was gonna get the play of the game, which usually does. Maybe they adjusted it again. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, we're gonna be going to the next map soon. It's gonna be Sakura Gaming getting to ban out heroes and then pick a map. But first, we're gonna get
right now we're just waiting for the feeding troughs to ban their map. So I gotta say, apart from the aggressive defenses, because I really do think that may have been the deciding factor in this match. We didn't see Sakura Gaming push all the way to that doorway, to that chokehold coming out of spawn, but we did see feeding troughs do that. Other than that, you know, you did say that neither team was really handling their ult economy very well. What else set these two teams apart? What did feeding troughs do better than Sakura Gaming there?
The reason why feeding troughs was able to hold so far forward is because they didn't lose their Reinhardt in the previous fight. Every single time Sakura Gaming lost the fight, Kivana was won a fight even. Kivana was often one that went down. But when you're losing that Reinhardt, you cannot hold so aggressively, because then they can just walk up to you while they're doing damage to you, and there's nothing for you to chokehold with. That's usually what that Reinhardt shield really allows you to do. So I think that's like a really big deal why Sakura Gaming couldn't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I think a very big part of what there's not that much that separates these teams. I think a lot of it comes down to just the missed timings, and a lot of the time Sakura Gaming will use an ult early, and then feeding troughs will use the same ult later, and usually in those cases the later ultimate gets more value. It's not so much more that the ultimates don't have the potential to get get as much value, but it was just, I think most of the support ultimates were very much the difference makers in this regard. So both sound barriers and the transcendences that were used a little bit more loosely by Sakura Gaming.
Yeah, I was quite confuzzled, one could say, by Dexter's use of that sound barrier at the end of that fight when it was just him and I believe Socks on the point.
Yeah, but even Dust Ein's Transcendence in a later fight as well, that came out a little bit of a weird situation. It's like, yeah, he just got it online, and they're like, yeah, but we're already losing this fight maybe, so might not want to use it. And then, yeah, so like the choices there were a little bit questionable here and there, but the same could be said for some of Feeding Troughs Ultimate. So it's not the biggest deal, but for Feeding Troughs, this was more often like a self-destruct or a shatter that got used late, whereas for Sakura Gaming, it was more of a support ultimate. And the ultimates they used were often more impactful to not have in the later fights or the fights after. Looks like we're going to go to Hollywood next. The map that has been banned out is Eichenwald.
Oh, man, that hurts me. Eichenwald.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've seen a lot of bans on Paris, but, you know, obviously we don't really need
I don't know many people who are real gung-ho about liking Paris. It's just seemed like a map that, you know, point A is so difficult to defend, and at the same time, if played
it's
right,
easy to defend,
really
right?
Difficult to attack. And then point B is just, it is a flanker's paradise.
I'm not so certain. I mean, I've always been saying that you could take the risk of not banning it because you're likely no one will pick it, and if they pick it, there's one strategy that works very well. Even though you would say that's a cheese strategy that works very well, there's a lot of teams that don't really understand how to use it properly. Because often when you put that bunker up, for instance, and then they come in with like a nano blade or something, you need to always have a tool to deny that dive or that dive follow-up. And a good tool for that's, for instance, like a Diva self-destruct. So whenever they go in for that one, you throw the Diva self-destruct onto your team. And then yes, the Genji can try and get in there, but by the time he finally gets to the Immortality field, there's already self-destruct coming out. So the only thing in that case you have to do is make sure the bubble dies. And either you deny all the value out of the Dragon Blade, or, you know, you just don't, by like not dying to it, or even better, you just kill the Genji and like some other members outright, and then you win the fight regardless. But like those are those small things a lot of teams are not actually doing, like the proper ult rotations. Other than that, most of the teams will play that comp on defense. They will just put down the Bastion and the Orisa with Baptiste and some other things. Like the heroes are there, it's just the intricacies of the strategy aren't quite coming through just yet. But talking about Hollywood's a little bit more relevant right now, even though the bunker can also be run on Hollywood. And interesting to see if either of the teams are going to pull that out. The main thing I'm always interested in is the attacking team, when they see that bunker, picking the Nano Blade, yes or no? Because I've seen it come out way too often without too much value that I'm really thinking, yes, the Nano Blade is not the thing you needed there. Even though you won the fight, the Nano Blade or like the Genji in general just didn't do much for you. It was more the mistakes of the enemy team that won it to you rather than your own composition. But I don't know. It's such a new thing that we're getting into that might become stronger with the current patch, that we'll likely see it develop a little bit more. Maybe we'll see it come in Overwatch League in Stage 4, depending on, you know, whether anything else changes or not. I don't know. It's really up in the air right now. I don't know what either of these teams will do. A lot of teams will just go for the GOATS matchup on this map as well. So I don't know. It's once again, it's a little bit of a question mark, especially with Mercy being saved.
Yeah, Mercy was saved and Wrecking Ball was banned. Which isn't, I don't think that's a really big impact. I don't see a lot of Wrecking Ball here on Hollywood, even in the higher tiers.
It's been used against bunker comps a lot. So if you're on that triple or quad DPS with a Wrecking Ball, the only thing you really have to do is avoid damage. The Wrecking Ball can boop about half the team that is in that cafe off, like away from their Orisa shields, and in that way you can just attack them. We will see, like I said, this bunker come out, but Brute Shop's going to be on the McCree, not on the Bastion. Of course, McCree almost fires as fast as Bastion nowadays, so, you know, it's not a bad choice. Interested to see if the attackers are going to switch anything up. They're going to run in with this Baptiste goat, so not the Brigade, but the Baptiste instead. We sort of call it San Francisco style, but San Francisco usually runs it on defense, not on offense.
And with that Baptiste, they're going to have to be a little bit aggressive, or else it's like playing half of a character. If all you're doing is healing or all you're doing is DPS. So Jacarion's going to have to be careful in the skies. If he gets that Discord on him, that might spell trouble. Looks like they're going to go for the around rotation.
Yeah.
Well executed, able to get out into the open and back into the corridors. So now they're going to initiate into the stairwell. But here's where things are going to get tricky with that Baptiste.
But they both have an immortality field.
Immortalities are both up as they go through, but Jakarian with a very early barrage! Oh, a 6K! Man, Jakarian just went ahead and said, "Oh, did you want to push nice and smoothly and easily? Well, here, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe your team."
But like the big deal about that was that they had their immortality field up, but the immortality field didn't even have to be destroyed. The mismanagement of that ability alone was just the big difference maker.
Yeah, they placed it on.
They don't have that much damage on defense though. Right? Like they realize that there's no bastion, so they can just walk up to the point without taking too much damage because the bastion won't burn down their shields. They're just going for the move around again because there's no barrage up for Jakarian obviously just yet, and not really much other ultimates either.
We are going to see the high noon come out from Brute He's going to get booped off of the high ground, but it's not going to mean nothing as Dexter does get taken out. Jakarian takes 1, takes 2, takes 3, and once again puts himself in the kill feed in a big way.
Another team kill coming out. They killed him so quickly as well. Kivana will be very close to a shatter. That might make a little bit of a difference, but I feel like they either need to try a different route of approach or need to be much quicker about their attack because they're taking so long to Jakarian every single time is able to just get that angle. Now he has a barrage again. This is going to be up to Traders. Traders needs to make the good plays in the D.Va and use the defense matrix correctly in order to really, deny everything that the defense wants to do against their push.
Jakarian doing a good job of managing his cooldowns there on the high ground. He's looking for the kill onto Dexter, and he's going to find that one easy peasy. Now looking for the positioning to see if he needs to put in and add in his barrage into this fight as the rest of his team still continues to battle it out on the high ground, the cafe. Kivana getting knocked off of the high ground will be taken out there, and they're going to go ahead and reserve their ults, save them for the next fight, but they will throw in Budget's amplification field.
No, they didn't really need any ults there because it was just Kivana getting up the stairs there and trying to do anything, but just couldn't get anything done with that. And Sakura Gaming looks a little bit lost on how to approach this. They're not running anything like a Sombra or a Genji, so both of those theories that I had that most people will use are out of the window. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna. I feel like they really just need to throw in like a self-destruct, just get the defense matrix, the immortality field out, and then go in hard.
Here we go. There goes the barrage.
The matrix is there.
This time, not only the matrix, but as well as the immortality field, both there to save the team. But not able to find everybody as Traders finally takes Jakarian out of the equation. There goes Brute with the Deadeye. He's looking for a couple of kills, but he's not gonna find anything. As Akalesh goes ahead and throws the D.Va bomb back behind the dumpster and finds Kivana. He turns around to put the shield up for the other damage and just completely forgets that the D.Va bomb was there.
They're doing such a good job at spreading out the attackers. And if you spread them out, then that entire thing they want to do with that GOATS competition is just useless. It just doesn't work. Because they need to be together to get the most value out of their shielding and their healing. And their defense matrix and everything. It's not able to do it right now. And this is not looking good for Sakura right now. They really need to make something happen. They have a graph now, but what damage do they have to follow up if everything's on the high grounds?
It's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do, but they've only got 13 seconds to decide to do it. So there goes the sound barrier for the initiation. They're going to go ahead and grab them up onto the high ground. Dexter trying to come up there and help out just a little bit as Jakarian goes ahead and puts a barrage into the back line of Sakura Gaming, and that puts Feeding Troughs into the front line of this matchup. Only 2 members left on the point, Dontu and Sox. Sox gets bullied around, and the overtime ticker ticks down.
And the main thing I will say, I don't think I've seen the immortality field being destroyed once. I don't think they ever really fired at the immortality field ever, which is a big problem. Like every single time, I think you see it in ranked games where you see come out, like shoot the lamp, just shoot the drone, just shoot that thing down before you do anything else. Someone needs to do it, because otherwise you can make all the damage try to stick, but they just heal it back up, and you can't kill them in the meantime. So I don't know. It felt like a little bit of a thing. And they went in with their own Baptiste, their own immortality field, but they never got the same value the defense got out of them, because that value out of their immortality fields was insane. They even combined it with the barrage at some point.
Yeah, I think part of the benefit there was just because Sakura Gaming wasn't necessarily ever really stationary when they were fighting, so they would get into an issue because Jakarian would be throwing in those rockets, so they'd throw out that immortality field, but then they would all move to engage onto the Feeding Troughs, whereas the Feeding Troughs stayed pretty stationary throughout the majority of that point, so the immortality field could give them a lot more value.
I would say that's a pretty simple case of just throwing the immortality field where you're going to fight rather than where you are before the fight. Because where you are before the fight, like you said, you're going to move into the fight and then you're not in that position anymore. True, it's an easier ability to use when it's reactive rather than active. But still, there were quite a few moments where I'm really thinking, you know, guys, A little bit of a different approach, maybe hero-wise or positioning-wise, could have been the case. They're going to run this high ground defense now, which we've seen a lot. Without the D.Va, though, Traders being on the Sombra is a big deal, because that actually means that they cannot do the same split-up move that you see often happen, where a GOATS team, for instance, will run in, they drop down, split half the team off, kill the half, and then kill the other half. There's going to be the pharmacy once again from Jakarion, and that's going to be a rough thing to deal with once again.
Yep, that looks like that high ground defense is not going to work out so well, especially when Kivana's shield has already broken. Now they're on the point. They don't even need the full point. They only need a third of it. So one team wipe will do it here. But Sox going to be able to get the kill on a calculated. But Brute's going to even the scales onto Kivana. So one team down a tank, one team down a healer. Jakarion going to have to play a little bit gingerly as he doesn't have that Mercy pocketing him. He's going to have to rely a lot on Budget hitting those shots on the Ana. You see Dexter on the high ground trying to get some cheeky shots in as the control percentage ticks up. Dante stepping onto the point for a bit of a contest, but the Dragons through the stairwell is going to make it very difficult, and it cuts off Sin from healing the rest of his team. So Brute Chop's going to be able to get the kill onto Traders as we do see the switch from Kivana onto the Winston paying off. Oh! That hop at the very end.
Not
Kivana
enough.
jumping to get the Mercy and the res, jumps off the point and allows for the take.
Yeah, that was, I would say that was doomed from the start, but they need to do something about Jakarion just being on the Pharah in the first place, or they just, yeah, I don't know. They don't seem to be able to deal with Jakarion whatsoever. Like this as well. He's just behind them, even on the ground, just walks in on them. And in that fight as well, no immortality field in the kill feed, so I don't know. There was a few shaky things coming up for Sakura Gaming, but once again, just also very nicely played from Feeding Troughs. I think that's also something we really need to acknowledge, that Feeding Troughs is just doing a very good job for the competitions they want to run and like executing them well as well.
I will say one thing: if Sakura Gaming cannot find an answer to the Baptiste and the Pharah coming into this next map, I think it might be another quick match for Sakura Gaming. Feeding Troughs is they're showing very strong. Jakarion has had prime positioning on that Pharah. Beautiful job using both the concussive blast and his own rockets in order to like get his own mobility throughout that. I don't know if you saw it, but on his big 6K, he actually concussive blast the entire team together and then barraged them. He was like, yeah, I don't want just 3 of you. I don't want just 4 of you. I want all 6 of you.
You don't even have to group them up. Like if they're playing GOATS, they're going to be grouped up most of the time anyways, right? Like that's the whole thing. That's what GOATS does. So
He just wanted to make sure they were extra tight and cozy before he wiped the team.
100%, 100%. And I mean, that's great. Hanamura is going to be banned out, I guess. I mean, I would, with the companies they've been running, it doesn't really matter for them, I suppose.
What is your take on the 2CP changes?
2CP changes are good. They just work. I mean, it's going to be a minute less than second, faster respawns. You're just encouraging teams to try and stall out A more, because obviously there's a big stall on B always happen, because that's the thing. Spawn is close. But with the snowball potential you always had, because A, yeah, they had time, they had ultimates, and they had, you know, you're still respawning, so you could take your position on B. That was like a big deal. So you couldn't actually see any stalls come out on A. It happened a few times, and when it happened, sometimes it was successful, but the risk was almost never worth the reward. And now it will be, because your respawn is going to be so much quicker on B when A is lost, that you'll always be able to have the same B defense whether you stall A or not. It's just that's not going to make a difference anymore, and that's a really nice change they did. Plus, you know, shorter time means shorter frustration if you're not doing well in the match, or you know, just a shorter game in general. No like 7 to 8 matches anymore. I don't know. It's just a good change overall.
The death of Forever Mura.
I mean, I think so. Like the main thing people, there were a few things people always were complaining about. You know, like the stall potential of B, that everyone's like, oh, the spawn's too close and things like that. But that was never really the problem with 2CP, because if you're a very coordinated team, which, you know, Overwatch is a team game, so that's something you should strive for. That was never really a problem for 2CP, because the team aspect really showed most on that map type. It was mostly that the thing we saw mostly come out when there was a coordinated teams was that there was no stall on A, and if there was stall on A, or even if there wasn't, the snowball on B was just overwhelmingly powerful. The only thing that still allows that to happen right now is ult advantage. If you win that first fight on A and get the point straight away, there's going to be such a overall ult advantage, especially in the current meta most of the time, that you will just be able to snowball into B regardless. I don't think the respawn changes might necessarily help with that too much, but it will allow you to maybe swap up to something like a Symmetra Bastion composition for B to just set that up a little bit quicker and not allow that snowball. So you can actually be in position before they get onto the point, regardless of whether they have ultimates or not. So the change is good overall. How much of a difference it's going to make on the pro level is still to be seen. Obviously, we don't have a dispatch in Overwatch League until at least stage 4. So yeah, that's all still up in the air, and it's only been like what 7.5 hours now that the patch has been live. So there's still a lot that we need to discover, but it's overall, again, it's a good change. We're going to OWB6, so we're going to see it in action.
Ooh, Pharah has been banned.
And Pharah has been banned. Like I said, I get that. You kind of needed to go for that. Obviously, they would probably save the Mercy again. I don't even have to look at the chat.
They did.
That.
Yep.
Save Mercy again, and they're gonna start on defense for the side of the feeding Troughs once again. I don't know. I think the Pharah ban is fine. I think at some point you're just done with it, especially if you don't really want to run too many hit scans. It's not like they couldn't, but it might just be smarter to do this. We do see a sub coming near. Geoduck has been subbed in for... I lost the name.
For Socks, I believe.
Socks, yes. I was going to say Socks. Thanks for reminding me. But yeah, that's the only change we're going to see. Once again, we're going to see this attack come out with DPS. Defense come out with DPS.
I am a fan of this composition that we're seeing from the feeding Troughs. You've got the D.Va to contest the high ground. You have Finchu on that new Orisa to be able to control that kind of little high ground right there and get back to the point.
It's really interesting because it looks a lot like something we have been seeing in Overwatch League in the earlier stages as well, when we had the Junkrat Orisa bunker thing like happening on this first point. They had a Widow behind it, but the Ashe just does more overall damage. She doesn't have quite the one-shot potential, but she will do more damage. And
if it comes to a tight spot, Bob can be an extra body on the point.
Yeah, without the Baptiste, though, things like a Nano Blade and an EMP, they're just going to be so impactful. So really interested to see if they're going to get that off. And there's no defensive ultimates on the defense. They have a Nano Boost and they have a Valkyrie, but those things don't really save a team like a Sound Barrier or a Transcendence can do. So a Sound Barrier engage from Dexter could be in the cards here.
Let's see what they're able to do. They're hiding behind the walls before they get in. There goes the initial dive coming in from Kivana, but he gets flashbanged and fanned from Brute Chop, so he's going to take Kivana out of the fight immediately, and that's going to be a 1 defense. Jakarian taking out Dantu and a D-suit onto Traders, and now Traders is going to have to either go back to spawn and switch off of D.Va back on, or try and build that mech up.
It looks like that's what Traders is going to do as well. It goes all the way back to spawn.
But, that's not that big of a deal. It shouldn't have a lot of ult charge built up.
Yeah, it was like 10 maybe. I don't know. Not a lot. Maybe 20. But like that's something you get back relatively quickly. Akalash only on 47, so it's still something you can catch up on. Biggest deal is going to be whether Kivana is going to get a proper engage. If he gets flashed and stuff again, it's all about the defense matrix in the early engage. He's to see it come out now, but the tank split up.
Yeah, beautiful job by Akalash eating that anti-nade coming in from Dastin there at the very end. Brute Chop does get the kill onto Geoduck, doing what McCree does best and clicking heads as Budget ML7 takes out Kivana from that Ana.
Ooh, they get Jakari on. The Riz will probably come in on that, but still a nice pick. Brute Chop. Oh, Brute Chop goes down. And Akalash as well. They got 3 picks there. This is huge.
This could be big. Calculated is able to bring Jakarian back into the fight, but the respawns will be heavily in favor of the feeding Troughs. It's going to be
you do see who they value. Jakarian being a very valuable member to them just gets dashed on by Genji. Is now nanoed. Bob not nanoed though.
Yep, double nano there. Going to see who's going to come out on top. But the anti onto Kivana is going to stop all of that healing and make it real easy to take him out of the fight. Bob's taking a little nap there on the side of the point, but that's all right. He's going to go ahead and head back home as Dantu does throw in that EMP. And the Dragon Blade comes out from Geoduck. He gets antied, though. He's quite low. He gets the kill into Budget and the kill into Akalash right as the D.Va bomb comes out. So he's not going to be able to get back into that suit as Finchu's Supercharger does hit the point. We're waiting on Brute Chop to pop in with that Deadeye if need be. Dantu on the high ground, able to get a good hack onto Calculated on that Mercy. No Guardian Angels available, but that's not going to mean too much as the rest of his team dies.
and they're not able to get through Finchu. Finchu is the one hero they desperately need to kill, because every time they don't, he's just going to set up in a corner, put that shield on, and they don't really have tools to get through that shield and smack him in the face. That's what a ghost could usually do. Yeah, I mean, I would almost say just run the 3-3, walk into that damage, because you can eat and shield a lot of it, and then when you're close, you do more value, get more value than they usually do. Down 2 is on a little bit of a flank here. Will get out safely, but got a little bit of ult charge.
And one thing that's going to be difficult is Budget just has such good positioning there in the back on that Ana that it's very difficult for them to stop the healing coming in. There goes the Primal Rage coming out from Kivana. He's looking to put a couple of people in a bad position, knock him around, maybe even get a kill if he can. As Traders goes over the top to try and mitigate the damage coming out from Brute Shop on this McCree. Not able, however, to find the kill as both Kivana and Dawson fall. Akalesh is going to go to the high ground, take Geoduck out of the equation, and back to spawn we go.
Back to spawn we go, and that seems to be the story of the match so far. It's not been going so well here for Sakura Gaming, and it's sad to see, because obviously there's a lot of potential to attack these compositions, but every single time they have like certain ultimates, you just slightly mistime them, they'll get the value out of them. It is just a bit annoying. We see that Ein having a nano boost. They do have the sound barrier this time around. Traders the self-destruct. They have to get onto the point within the next 5 seconds though. I think Dantu will be able to touch it at the very least.
Dantu's gonna go ahead and go invisible, get himself the touch, and there goes a mess of ultimates to self-destruct Bob and the nano boost. There goes the Deadeye coming out from Brute Shop, looking to find a couple of kills. He's not going to find anything. The defense matrix was there to keep people alive, but he will find Geoduck after the equation. Kivana also going to fall as the DMP comes through from Dantu. He's going to fall to Jakarian. Traders does get one, but it's really an uphill battle right now as he gets desuited. And Akalesh going to go ahead and throw in a self-destruct for good measure. And we will see the Feeding Troughs have a successful point A defense here without a single tick taken.
Yeah, and it's all about that kite. They just keep running away from the attacking dive. And what you often see happen when a team does that, when they keep walking away, is there's 2 options how to keep doing that. Either you can keep going as a dive, which usually means you get spread out more, because certain characters, while you have a dive, certain just have a longer range mobility. So Winston can go further than D.Va and Genji can with this one leap. And he gets his cooldown back relatively quickly as well. So that usually means that Winston is going to go in alone very deep if you keep running, if you keep chasing them. The other thing you can do is, yes, we got them out of position, but then you sort of half dive, so you make them go further back, and then you just dive again and again and again just to threaten them into that final corner where they're in, and then you can properly engage them. And that situation never really arose for Sakura Gaming. They pushed them back a lot, but they never got them in a position where they were uncomfortable defending against the dive, because the dive was never grouped up enough. So it's nice from Feeding Troughs that they definitely recognized that. They definitely saw that coming, or like, okay, so this is what we're working against. So we're just backing up more and more and more.
And huge props to Akalesh, because every time that they did try that initial dive onto them, they attempted to do the move where you stand behind the pillar there at the archways, and Dawson throws the anti-nade over the archways, lands on the high ground, then the Winston lands, and that way they can't heal. Every time they did that, Akalesh looked up in defense matrix.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a Sombra on the field. Maybe you can hack the D.Va in those situations. Like, there's a lot of things you could do, but once again, it's just nicely recognized for Feeding Troughs, all these little micro plays and just knowing what they have to do as a team. Sakura Gaming, not showing up poorly, but just a little bit outmatched here in the situation. But we'll see. Maybe they can have a tie here.
Yeah, Kivana got in there in a bit of a tricky situation based on where the supports were. Nobody could see him. Gonna have to go trickle over onto the high ground, and right now, this is an abrasive and rough push coming in from the Feeding Troughs. They get down onto the battlefield, looking to get their first pick, and they get the pick on the Kivana. Starting things off as a 5v6 as they funnel into the room looking for Geoduck, and Geoduck falls as well. Traders is able to take Budget out of the fight, but it just might not be enough. The tick is ticking, and they might be able to get the control of the percentage here. We will see Brute Shop, however, and Calculated trying to keep this attack alive as the defense seems to hold true, but Finchu having a couple of quick kills there on the Reinhardt, gonna make things pretty easy for Feeding Troughs. All they have to do is deal with Kivana, and they're home free.
And that liberal jump usage from Kivana really catching up with them there. Was again going in a little bit too deep, didn't really manage to jump out again, and then just killing that kill up. And if you lose that main tank, that's such a big pick. I mean, that's just something you really need to not lose. even if it's a Winston, who's sometimes a little bit less impactful than a Reinhardt when it comes to that defensive power. It's a big deal. I see Finchu here picking up those kills like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
I was hoping to maybe see a Genji blade in the play of the game, but apparently that wasn't meant to be. Yeah, nice level defeating Troughs. So obviously they're gonna continue in the tournament right now, and it's gonna be Sakura Gaming making their exit here. Unfortunate for them, but yeah, I mean it was still a good match to watch. And now obviously you have the replays, so they can still go back and look at a lot of things, like where were the timings, what were the defenders doing, and how do you deal with what those defenders do in that case. So a lot more they can learn from it this time than just watching back the stream, and that might help them develop in the future. So positive stuff all around still for Sakura Gaming. And you know what they say, there's no such thing, no better teacher than a heartfelt loss. So
this is true. Guys, but don't leave yet. Don't leave just yet. Make sure you're staying in chat. We just got calculated AF into the voice chat. We're gonna do a little post interview there. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. That was a pretty quick match.
Yeah, we felt pretty good about it. We were kind of concerned with the whole patch coming out today and not having time to really practice on it. But I think we kind of had discussed a little bit what we thought it was going to be like, and I think things turned out well for us.
Yeah, I mean it obviously did. I mean you won the match, so looks like it did come out well. We often see bunkers being run with Bastion. You chose to use the McCree in that instance. Was that more of an experimental thing you threw out this time, or was it like, yeah, we probably gonna do this more often?
So for us, what we found is different maps have obviously different geography and whatnot that you have to worry about. And Bastion, one of our concerns with that is with more of the DPS comps coming back into play, you saw how they came out with the Sombra Cyber Dive, Sombra and Genji, and Bastion does not fare well against that. So we're messing around. Of course, with the new McCree change, we also thought that it could work well, and so far it seems to be pretty solid.
Okay, well, it's good to hear that you're at least on top of the patch changes. Like you said, it was a little bit shaky, obviously coming out. Like I said, it's been 7 hours and 42 minutes now since the patch's been out, so you really haven't had a lot of time. And most teams haven't really practiced on PTR, so I can definitely understand that. Yeah, other than that, I mean, especially for you, there's not especially much changing for the heroes you play, but like versus your diva player, your DPS players, and maybe your main tank players, that they really felt anything coming out here that they're like, oh yeah, that's like a big deal for us now.
Yeah, so especially for our main tank, I know he hasn't been a huge fan of the Orisa in the past, so changing over to that, there's some mixed feelings there. But of course, we're gonna make it work. Whatever the meta goes for. Me, tending to like the Lucio a little bit more, but having the Mercy come back into meta, it's like it's things that you just kind of adjust to as they come along. Of course, it's nice for our DPS players to get back on those characters, that they've grinded, and get back into those mechanics and all those things. So I overall, I think for the morale of our team, it will be better, because obviously, getting out of the brig meta is kind of nice. Not that maybe it'll be gone completely, but
I'm just happy to see DPS back in the lineup.
I was gonna say, I mean, some people might be happy with that. I think it's a little bit. I mean, we'll see where it goes, obviously, from here, because patches just come out, so a lot of development helpful, and we're likely. I mean, Overwatch Leagues are gonna change for another few weeks at least, so that's not something we can really take inspiration from. So maybe these tournaments are something that can show a little bit what the meta is gonna be like. But other than that, I mean, you've been, this is your third match in the Overwatch Brawl. Looks like you're enjoying it at least, so that's nice to see. Next match is going to be against the Romans Next Gods for you guys. It's going to be happening basically exactly a week from now, same time.
I did want to ask before you head out. Did you get a chance to catch the RNG match?
We casted it, so yes.
Oh no, I'm talking to Calculator.
Sorry, I'm sometimes. That's my bad.
No, actually, we were trying to go through a little bit, getting ready for our
little practicing on the new patch. Yeah. Well, yeah. Good luck in your match next week against RNG.
Awesome.
Yeah. I hope you guys the best.
And any shout outs you want to do before you go?
No, I just like to, thank my team, of course, for putting in their best, and thank you guys for casting and everybody who's involved in the tournament. And just hope everybody who's watching has a good night.
Okay, well, same to you, and congratulations to you once again for the win. Also, congratulations to Akalash for getting the MVP vote here.
There's no doubt in my mind that he deserves that. I gotta say, just that the defense matrix management there at the end was beautiful.
Did we get that actually confirmed? I'm not sure if we got that confirmed. Let me check that. I might have just shouted it out for no good reason, because, that's...
Unofficial MVP. It's all right.
Unofficial MVP. I mean, it was doing a good job here. Let me see. It wasn't. It was actually Jakarion that got the vote. I'm sorry. Jakarion's gotten the votes. So
well, Akalash, you've got my vote, all right?
Was a good second. I mean, if you look at the vote count, Akalash is actually, a shared second with Finchu. So I guess it's still something. But yeah, I mean, congrats on that one. And with that, I think we're done for the night, guys. I'm sorry. We wanted to bring you more Overwatch, but there isn't just any. So yeah, might want to look somewhere else to get some of that. But if you want to know when we're back online, maybe if you just tune in late, follow the Watchers OW on Twitter, on Twitch, maybe on DLive if that's more your thing.
Yep, we'll have 2 matches June 24th. Yeah, 7 o'clock or 7 p.m. EST, and the other one will be at 9 p.m. EST, same time as it was this
today.
Week. Yeah,
today. Gotta be good ones. We Redacted, Citizens, Phase 1, Metamorphic. Actually, not Phase 1. What am I saying? It's Boundless. It's obviously Boundless. I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry. I have something in my head with those guys. Anyways, yeah, they're gonna face off next week, round 3, 24th, of the upper bracket. And that's gonna decide who's gonna get into the semi-finals of the Watchers Brawl, guys. It's actually going so fast already. So looking forward to that one. If you want to see it, don't miss it. Follow us once again on Twitter, Twitch, etc.
Yeah, make sure, like you said, make sure you're following the social media so you are up to date. If you are not a part of the Discord, please get in the Discord. That's how you get to compete and get all the juicy bits before they even hit Twitter. So if you do that, you can get everything before your friends do, because they're not as cool as you, because you're in the Watchers Discord. But other than that, from myself, from Man of Class, and from everybody here at the Watchers, thank you so much for tuning in for today's Overwatch matches, and make sure you come back next week.